So let's talk about this. Imagine you and I are standing in Times Square. There's billboards flashing, cars zooming and honking past one another, tourists are stopping in the middle of the sidewalk to take pictures, street performers yell over one another, somewhere nearby is a kid crying because he's overwhelmed, someone else is about to get proposed to, another person just got fired from their job, and someone just found out they're about to become a father, and someone else just got the phone call that their mother just died. Every one of those people occupied the exact same physical location, the same weather, the same streets, the same buildings, the same moment in history, yet none of them experienced the same reality. Because reality has never been the world around us, reality has always been the story our brain tells us about it. And if it's true, then maybe we've misunderstood what it means to be human. Maybe the greatest distance between people isn't measured in miles, it's measured in perception. Because every person you've ever met has been living inside a universe you'll never completely enter. So let's talk about it. One of the first things that we figure out as children is that the sky is blue, which is simple enough. You're probably like, duh, the sky is blue. But the sky isn't actually blue. Blue light scatters more efficiently through the Earth's atmosphere than other wavelengths, making it appear blue to us. The sky doesn't contain blueness. Your brain constructs that experience from incoming light. Color itself doesn't exist out there, it exists inside your nervous system. Now, think about that. The first thing you believed was objective already wasn't. Sound, just vibrating air. Taste, electrical signals. Smell, tiny molecules intercepted by receptors. Everything you experience is your brain's translation of reality. You've never experienced reality directly. You've only experienced your brain's interpretation of it. If your senses change, your universe would change. Imagine if humans could sense magnetic fields like some animals, or ultraviolet light, or infrared. The world wouldn't become different, your access to it would, which raises a kind of terrifying possibility. How much of reality exists that humans simply cannot perceive? We tend to think of our senses as windows. Maybe they're just keyholes. So now imagine filming your entire life. Every conversation, every smell, every sound, every heartbeat, every passing car, every bird, every face, and by the end of one day, that footage would be impossible to watch. So your brain hires an editor, not to show you everything, but only to show you what you think matters. And here's the catch, that editor isn't objective. It's biased. It uses your fears, your memories, your desires, your trauma, your ambitions as editing instructions. Think about buying a whole new car. The second you decide on a specific model, you start seeing that car everywhere. Did the world change? No, your editor changed. The information was always there. Your attention simply decided it mattered now. This happens constantly. When you're heartbroken, every love song feels personal. When someone you love passes, every mention of death becomes noticeable. When you're insecure, compliments bounce off you and criticism echoes for weeks. The editor isn't trying to tell you the truth, it's just trying to keep you alive, which means survival, not accuracy. And before you even had a thought in that little pea brain of yours, you were already inside of a world someone else built for you. You didn't choose your first language, you didn't choose your name, you didn't choose your belief, and you didn't choose what was normal. You just arrived here, and everything around you started training your brain what reality was supposed to look like. If you were born in a different place, you wouldn't just speak differently, you would think differently entirely. Not just vocabulary, structure, the way you interpret respect, the way you interpret love, the way you interpret danger, even the way you interpret silence. All of it gets installed before you were old enough to question it. Now, you didn't enter a reality as a blank observer, of course. You entered it as a system being programmed. Your parents didn't just raise you, they filtered the universe for you. What's safe, what's disrespectful, what's possible, what's impossible. And they weren't even doing it consciously most of the time. They were just passing down the version of reality they inherited too, which means you are not seeing the world as it is, you're seeing the world as a layered inheritance of every person who shaped you before you could speak. And the terrifying part, most of it feels like you, but it isn't. It's borrowed perception. Now, to contradict my editor point, your brain is not a camera. Of course, it's a prediction machine. It doesn't wait for reality to fully arrive. It guesses what's coming next and shows you that version. Right now, you're not even hearing this sentence in real time. Your brain is predicting the next word before you could fully even process what I'm saying. That's how fast it works. In fact, most of what you're experiencing as seeing is your brain filling in gaps, because raw reality is too messy, too fast, too overwhelming to process line by line, so your mind cheats. It builds a simulation that feels stable. That's why optical illusions work on people. That's why you can miss something so obvious and then suddenly see it once it's pointed out. The information was always there. Your brain prediction system didn't prioritize it at the time. So here's the unsettling question. If your brain is constantly guessing reality, how much of what you know is actually just the most efficient story your mind could build? Not truth, just approximation. You didn't experience the world, you experienced your brain's prediction of the world. And when the prediction is wrong, you call it a surprise or a shock. But here's something people misunderstand all the time. We assume a shared environment means a shared reality, but even inside the same house, no two people can grow up in the same world. Think about siblings. Same parents, same rules, same rooms, same meals, but ask them about their childhood and you'll get two completely different stories. One remembers laughter, one remembers tension, one remembers safety, one remembers walking on eggshells. What changed? Not the house, of course, but the perception inside it. Because parents aren't static beings, they change over time as well. Stress changes them, money changes them, relationships change them, health changes them. So a child raised at age 6 is not raised in the same environment as the same child at age 12. The house didn't move, but the universe inside it did. And also, the child changed as a result of it. A younger sibling meets a different version of the parent than the older sibling did. Even a difference of 2 years can mean a different job, a different mindset, a different level of patience, a different version of love being expressed. So when people say we grew up in the same home, that's only physically true. Emotionally, psychologically, and perceptually, they grew up in different universes that overlapped in the same space, which means even your closest family members have lived lives you'll never fully accessed. But let's throw all of those previous statements and topics out of the window. There was a time when your universe was shaped by your environment, your home, your school, your friends, your neighborhood. But now there's another force shaping it, and it never sleeps. It's called the algorithm. It doesn't just show you content, it studies your attention. Every pause, every replay, every half-second hesitation, and it learns what holds your eyes longer than everything else. Then it builds a version of reality optimized for you. Not reality itself, but your most clickable version of reality. Two people can open the same app and live in completely different universes. One can be shown love stories, the other can be shown conspiracy theories. One is shown fitness, the other is shown heart rate content, one is shows chaos, and one is shown peace. And over time, the algorithm doesn't just reflect your interest, it reinforces them. It nudges your emotional state. It subtly shapes what you think is happening in the world. It doesn't just show you what you like, it learns what you become. Because if you watch sadness long enough, it assumes sadness is your identity. If you watch anger long enough, it assumes anger is your baseline. And if you watch love long enough, it assumes love is what you're searching for. So your universe slowly starts syncing with what you consume, not because the world changed, but because your feed became your environment and your environment became your mind. And at some point, you stop scrolling content and start scrolling through versions of yourself. So to kind of end this video off with this last section, every person you've ever met is not just a person. They are a complete system of perception, a lifetime of memories only they remember correctly, jokes only they understand a certain way, moments they replay differently than anyone else, and private interpretations of every room they've ever entered. When someone passes, we say things like they're gone, but what actually disappears is not just their body, it's the version of everything they've ever experienced. Their sunrise, their version of your voice, their version of childhood, their version of love, their version of fear, and their version of joy. No one else ever had the exact configuration of that perception, and no one ever will. So death is not just the end of life, it's the collapse of a universe that had a single observer. And when that observer is gone, that universe doesn't transfer and it doesn't continue elsewhere. It just stops being experienced on a physical plane forever. And we like to believe that people live on in memory, but memory is not preservation, memory is reconstruction, and every reconstruction is a new universe forming in someone else's mind, not the original. It's never the original, which means something almost impossible to fully accept. Every moment you share with someone is happening inside a universe that will eventually disappear completely. And it won't fade, it won't dim, it just disappears. If every person is living in a different universe, then what are we actually doing when we talk, when we argue, when we love, when we remember each other, and what do we do? So maybe we are not sharing a reality. Maybe we're building bridges between realities that were never fully meant to connect. Temporary structures built out of language, emotion, attention, care, and maybe that's what makes it meaningful. Not that we never fully understand each other, but that we try. Because even if you can never fully step into someone else's universe, you can still stand at the edge of it and for a moment see light from inside something you will never fully enter. And maybe that's enough. Because if every human is a universe, then every conversation is a collision of galaxies pretending to be small talk, every silence is an entire world holding its breath, and every goodbye is not just distance, it is infinite space reopening between two minds that once briefly touched. Thank you for watching this video. Boom! Explosions, galaxies. It took me a while, 2 weeks to be exact, to really get this script finished, and even now I don't really think this script is complete, but it's the most complete that it'll get now. And I really did want to get this video out because I really did like making this script, and it's been a minute since I posted a video. Like 2 weeks is a good minute, and I didn't want to be too far out. But thank you for waiting. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Love you guys, and God bless. And of course, I will see you in the next video. Yap on, brother.